Mr. Ahmed here, Geometry 1.1 Part 1 video. In this video we're going to go over the basics of points and lines, how to name them, what they look like on a diagram, and then also how to draw them. So this chart here on the first page is going to be pretty imperative. These are things you're going to have memorized, and you're going to need to know how to label and pick things out throughout the entire year. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a point. Point is a specific location on a diagram. It's indicated with a dot and a capital letter above it. When I name a point, I would just have to say point A with the capital letter. If you name numerous points at one time, make sure you put a comma in between each one. So if I have to name numerous points like point A and B, I would put point A, comma, B. A line is a straight one-dimensional figure. It extends forever and ever in both directions, so it keeps on going. It does not end. The arrows are what indicates that it keeps on going. For us to name a line, there's numerous ways we can do it. If there's a little letter near the arrow without a point, I could call it line L. Okay, so there'd be a little letter. Another common one you might see is M and N. So line M, line N. In this case, it's line L. The other way that I can name it is by picking any 2 points on it. When I name a line, I have to put arrows above those 2 points. So I could call this line AB, goes from A to B, keeps on going forever and ever, or I could also call it line. I need to have this line sign above it, BA. So any of these 3 options would name the line. Collinear, kind of a straightforward definition. Collinear are points that are on the same line. And there has to be 3 or more for them to be collinear, because through any 2 points, there is a line. So in this case, points A, B, and C are collinear. So when I name the numerous points, points A, B, and C, make sure you put a comma between them. Those are all collinear. They're on the same line. A line segment is part of a line, so it ends. Okay, so it's 2-dimensional still, but it has endpoints. I can measure a segment. I cannot measure a line because it keeps on going forever and ever. So when I name a segment, I have to draw a segment above it, and I use the 2 endpoints. It ends at A, ends at B, so I could call it segment AB. Notice the symbol has no arrows. That indicates it's a segment. I could also call it segment BA. Doesn't matter the order. Either option is acceptable. A ray is our next definition. A ray is a fixed part of a line that extends indefinitely in one direction. So it has one endpoint and then keeps on going forever and ever in another direction. When I name it and use its symbol, I have to start at the endpoint. So this ray starts at A, goes to B. So I'd say A, B, with a ray sign above it. Starts at A, goes to B forever and ever and ever. Start with the endpoint. When I name the one below it, I would have to start at B, and it goes to A, and then keeps on extending indefinitely. Opposite rays, last term for this page, it's a big one. Opposite rays are 2 rays that have a common endpoint, but go in opposite directions. Opposite rays make a line. So, for me to name the 2 opposite rays here, the common endpoint is C. One of the rays goes from C to A, so ray CA, and ray CB are considered opposite rays. They go in opposite directions, they make a line. The common endpoint is C. So on this page, numerous terms, make sure we get these memorized. We have to understand the notation, have to be able to name them correctly. So some example problems, starting off with the first one. True or false? Point X lies on line M. So when I read these problems, the first thing I want to do is just, what's it asking me? It's asking is point X on line M. So I'm going to locate point X. Is it line on line M? Well, M's here. That indicates that it's this line. It's by the arrow. M is not a point. It's the name of the line. This is true. Letter B says point V lies on line L. This L is super hard to see, but there is a cursive L there. V is indeed on line L. That is true. Next one asks, are X, Y, and Z collinear. X, Y, Z. Those are all on line M, so they are collinear. It is true. Next one says, are V, Y, and X collinear? V, Y, those ones are. X is not. So those are not collinear. That makes an angle, so that is false. Opposite rays, keep in mind, opposite rays make a line. So it has the common endpoint Y. I see Y is common for both. So Y to X, Y to Z. Those extend in opposite directions. YX, YZ makes a line. Those are opposite rays. It is true. And next one is point Y on line L. Yes, it is. That is true. All right, next set. Name a point that is collinear with the given point. So collinear means on the same line. So the first example says B and E, a point that's collinear with B and E. So I see that B and E lie on this diagonal line here. It appears as if H is also collinear. So I'm just going to put H. Next one says F and H. So that's this bottom horizontal line. The other point on it is G. And it asks D and G, so identify the line with D and G. That is the other one going diagonally with a negative slope. And the line that's also containing those points, D, G, A. And lastly, A and C, horizontal line on top. The point that's also on those is B. So collinear, on the same line. All right. Numerous options for these questions. So there's more than one correct answer. It says, give another name for line MN. So the first thing I want to do is identify MN. I could name that NM, changing the order. Another option could have been, I could also call it NP. Keep in mind the line symbol above it with the arrows. Because NP, those are both also on the line as well. I also could have called it PM. Next one says another name for the segment. No arrows, so segment, that ends, KL. The only other way I can name that segment is by switching the order and calling it LK, segment sign above. 3 collinear points, options here. Collinear on the same line. I'm going to say N, P, and M. Commas in between, numerous points. And lastly, what is the intersection of MN and KL? Well, they intersect at point P. That's why the P is there. We assume that the intersection of two lines is a point. All right, last page. On these, we're going to do some diagrams. And when you draw these problems out, start simple and try and get an overarching idea of what it's asking us to do, and then we'll draw it out. Have to be very careful with the symbols. So it says point K lies on line RT. So I'm going to start by drawing a line. I know that the line contains R and T. So I drew the line first. And it says point K is on it. I'm just going to add the K in between. You could have put the K somewhere else. There's numerous options. Another way this could have looked could have been something like this. I could have K down here. I could have R. I could have T. So there's numerous ways you could draw it. The opposite rays. Keep in mind, opposite rays make a line. So I'm just going to make a line. Opposite rays. The common endpoint is L. So L needs to be in the middle. Now N could go up to here, and M could go down this way. I have my opposite rays, LM and LN. They make a line. All right, lots of things going on here. It says AB and BC intersect. So I'm going to start by drawing line AB. I'm just drawing a line. Doesn't matter how I do it. A, B. Has to have arrows because it's a line. Keeps on going. Now B, C, they intersect, and C is not on AB. So BC is a ray, so I'm going to have my ray go off this way because C's not on it, and put C up here. Sorry, I didn't quite notice my A wasn't showing. So I started with the line AB, ray BC. And last one says points A, B, and C are collinear. So that means they're all on the same line. And they're on, let's see here, points A, B, and C are collinear, and line L intersects AC at point B. So line L is different. So I'm going to start off with points A, B, and C. A, B, C. They are all collinear. And line L intersects AC at point B. So line L needs to go through it at point B. I'm going to draw line L like this. Keep in mind, if I'm naming a line with a little letter, it goes by the arrow. No point, cursive L. All right, that's it for today. Have a good one.